successful luxury brand in Japan. It absolutely dominates the market. At one point, they even had 55% of their profits coming from Japan. But how they were able to win all hearts of Japanese people, and how did they almost lose everything when a Louis Vuitton bag became disposable after several months of use? And what's the secret connection between the French brand and Japanese heraldry? All of this you will learn today. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Lisa. This is Stolbova Brand, Luxury Strategy Explained. I share weekly insights on luxury branding. So hit the subscribe button and let's begin. Go-to-market strategy. It's no secret that the Asian markets are rapidly developing now, and according to HSBC, in February 2009, Japan was the final destination of 45% of the luxury goods sold worldwide. This growth started in late 70s and early 80s when Japan was in the middle of an economic boom, while Western world faced a recession. Japan, experiencing the unprecedented growth, was ready to adopt European luxury brands as the attributes of their thriving economy and developed society, while Louis Vuitton saw the opportunity to overcome the financial difficulties and conquer a new market. The brand became so successful that sociologists invent a new term, Vuittonmania, describing the unique situation that almost ruined Louis Vuitton's reputation as a luxury brand. But first things first, let's examine Louis Vuitton's clever go-to-market strategy that paved the way for other luxury brands entering Japanese market. First of all, Louis Vuitton was the first brand that decided to open their stores without the help of the Japanese distributor. Although it may seem obvious now in the digital era, back in the 1970s, the communication process that is absolutely essential for sleek distribution was quite challenging without instant internet connection, Zoom calls and real-time updates on the situation. Moreover, according to the cage distance framework used to consider the differences between your current market and the international market you are entering and highlight potential problems, French market and the Japanese market have more differences than similarities. And the Japanese distributor could ease this distance, so it was quite a bold move for Louis Vuitton to do everything by themselves. In 1977, they opened the first location in Osaka. It wasn't a Louis Vuitton store as you might imagine. Entering the Japanese market through department store corners was the second genius idea of Louis Vuitton's management. In Asia, department stores are very popular and attract a lot of visitors daily. Knowing this, Louis Vuitton offered their partners, department store Seibu in Mitsukushi, to design the interior of brand's corners as magnifique as those found at flagship stores in Paris. Needless to say, adding Parisian chic to the mundane Japanese reality was a successful move. And pushing this idea even further, Louis Vuitton utilized Japanese less strict compared to the European architectural regulations and opened the first retail store of its own in 1981, making the architecture of each Louis Vuitton store in Japan a huge part of brand identity, while the in-store experience was revolutionizing the whole purchasing process. Today, Japanese Louis Vuitton stores are considered the most bizarre and beautiful. Of course, one of the most important things to consider when entering a foreign market is the leadership. Appointing the right person can play a huge part in the success or failure of the go-to-market efforts. Louis Vuitton has definitely selected the right leader, Kyojiro Hata, who ended up being CEO of Louis Vuitton in Japan for 28 years. Now, typically, Louis Vuitton headquarters would want a strict control over the operations on the foreign market. However, in the Japan's case, they decided to do things differently, relying on the Japanese savoir-faire, Kyojiro Hata's understanding of local people and traditions, and efficient market-driven decisions. This strategy made each subsidiary, to a certain point, quite independent and autonomous, and allowed Louis Vuitton to shorten the cage distance, contributing to more smooth market integration. Nothing tells you more about marketing strategy success than statistics. After about 5 years from the first market entry, more than 30% of Japanese women owned a Louis Vuitton bag, and each year LV sold more than 5 million units of Kipal and Speedy, classic bag models in Japan. By the year 2004, Louis Vuitton has reached such an unbelievable level of success in Japan and earned 55 75% of revenue there that it became a risky dependence on a single market. So the brand was forced to diversify and continue to build sales in the USA, as well as tap new emerging markets like India and China. Cultural nuances. One of the most important things that affected Louis Vuitton's success in Japan were the cultural nuances of the country. First, it is important to understand that unlike Western individualistic cultures, Japanese culture is rooted in Asian collectivism. Individualistic culture fosters independence, uniqueness, and autonomy. It doesn't provide a lot of social support, but decreases social anxiety. And the main self-perception term is I. Collectivist culture, on the other hand, is often characterized by the high level of social pressure on the individual, conformity, and the intent to avoid conflict or embarrassment at all costs, a saving-the-face phenomenon. And you get the group loyalty in exchange for the collective support. The dominance of the group interests over the individual uniqueness results in the strict hierarchy and the necessity to fit in. People have a self-perception in terms of relationship to others. Thus, collectivist culture in Japan affects the consumer behavior and puts pressure on to possess luxury status-driven items. Owning any luxury item has become almost mandatory for the urban middle class in Japan. Everyone who doesn't want to be considered a hillbilly must prove it to the society and buy a monogrammed ticket to the beau monde. Such status-conscious behavior, as well as the existence of a large middle class and high population density, affected Japanese purchasing habits. Thus, Louis Vuitton became a highly desirable brand that offered Japanese people the opportunity to increase their social status. As a result, the immense urban population of Japan possesses at least one Louis Vuitton item, way more than in New York or Sydney, and even in the fashion capital Paris. What's unusual is the motivation to own a luxury piece. While in Western world, owning a luxury item contributes to the individual's uniqueness, making them exceptional, one of the few dominating minority. In Japan, the situation is reversed. Having a Louis Vuitton bag allows an individual to become a part of the group, integrate into the society, and blend in, adopting collective traits. So Louis Vuitton, later joined by Hermès and Prada, became successful in Japan in expense of the brand's exclusivity, turning the Japanese luxury market into a widely accessible mass market. And what should have killed the luxury brand was the reason it thrived. Japan was the first to demonstrate that it is possible to sell at high price in high numbers. This is why all the Western luxury brands have rushed to install themselves in Asian shopping malls and department stores after Louis Vuitton's success, where the crowds file past the windows to learn of an international lifestyle and to buy a sign of it, an object to mark that they too belong in this universe that gives the rank. In his book, Jean-Noël Caperer highlighted this collectivist desire to fit in. The fact that Japanese office ladies all carry the same Louis Vuitton handbags does not worry them. On the contrary, in Japan, luxury is a luxury of integration. Too much rarity would therefore destroy the brand's value. In addition, Japanese women are known to be more beauty conscious due to the strong traditional cultural influence. A compulsory consumption of luxury products and cosmetics is a form of social expression for Japanese women because their looks correspond with their social position. Status-conscious Japanese women were practically hypnotized by the Louis Vuitton's monogrammed bags that were easily recognizable and posed them as social elite at the first glance. They saved money for it brands like Louis Vuitton for months and even years, trying to buy at least the smaller, cheaper leather items like wallets, travelers, and clutches, which had reported a huge increase in sales in the recent past. This obsession became so unhealthy that it led to the self-destructive behaviors described by Jean-Noël Caperer. The luxury object can even become a social necessity, with the need to own the object leading in some extreme cases to aberrant behaviors, like those of young Japanese women using prostitution as a means to afford a particular brand of bag, the sugar daddy phenomenon. Well, you can easily guess what brand Jean-Noël Caperer carefully omitted. it was getting dark inside, so welcome to this scenic view. Wow guys, that's enough information for today. I actually filmed a full video at once, but decided to split it in half, so write down in the comments, how do you think Louis Vuitton ended up with the reputation of a disposable bags brand? The next part of this video comes out on Thursday, so ring the bell button and you won't miss it. And don't forget to like and share this video if you learned something new today. See you on Thursday.